Hi everyone, I'm going to go over the only letters assignment and I'm just going to walk you through it. So the parameters of the assignment are you should use 3 to 5 words to create a composition using only letters. Do not include any other character or embellishment. This is a simple assignment, but use it as an opportunity to treat each letter with detail and use an interesting grid and arrange words in relation to each other as if it were an illustration, because it is. Your piece can be in either black and white or color using any medium, but keep it simple. So I'm just going to show you some examples. You're not using characters in this assignment, but the words themselves can have a certain character to them. And I think many of the illustrations and hand letters that I'm about to show you have a lot of character and a lot of energy to them, even though there's no person or necessarily the typical illustration things that you might expect. Even though it's only letters, it still has a lot of life to it. This is by my friend Hayden. I love these letters. They just are so interesting, and he is able to create a really fun story just using this concept and then thinking about how the design of the letters contribute to that concept. Another thing I like about Hayden's work is he is not afraid to use different mediums. A lot of the times we're afraid to kind of break out and use different methods. He's not afraid to get out a really big brush and just do something messy, or to tear paper and create interesting letters from that. So think about if you might consider using a different method than you normally do. This is Monique Amy. I think these letters are just really fun, and you can see how she kind of considers just a few different details and how they might affect the final outcome. This is another one by Monique Amy. I love the scrolling letters and how they create a composition, and it has a lot of decoration. So even though it's just letters, we still have such a feel of elegance. This one is really fun by Leonard Gavel. Lots of swashes going on in this one. This one is interesting. It's almost not readable, but there's enough that our eye works through it and we can understand what it's saying. It's not completely illegible, but keep in mind that when you're working with your letters, I guess you get to decide how legible do you want it to be, how important is that in your work. Sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not. These are really fun. So even though I was saying to not use embellishment, you can use design, you can use a little bit of decor, as long as that decor is really a part of the letters. So I thought these were really fun, by Nolan Phillips Pelletier, maybe. I love these letters by Hang Lee. They just have a really nice feel to them. They're kind of vintage, but also contemporary. They're very strong, which really goes with this message. Okay, another one by Leonard Gavel. These letters are really well designed and thought out. There's some patterns. If you see how the letters are designed, the A and the C are not the same, but they kind of reference each other, the way that they curl in. And you can create patterns and consistency in your letters that can be really interesting. I'm a big fan of Mary Cat McDevitt. She is really just so smart at how she puts letters together. And again, you can see her message is very strong. She really wants you to vote. And so that shows through in how the letters are designed. They are block letters. They are big and bold that go along with her message. So think about, with the phrase you're using, what letters are most appropriate for what you're trying to convey. This is my own piece. I'm going to show you a little bit of my own work. And this was a project where I wanted to make political activism fun and appealing. So I created postcards that you could send to your congressional representatives or local representatives. And I wanted to do something fun. So I was looking at a lot of 70s type. It's something that I think is really fun. And I found these letters and kind of made them my own and figured out ways that they could fit together. This was one I did recently. I was just thinking about the idea of embracing and accepting yourself is an act of resistance. And when I was drawing these letters, I really thought of, what am I trying to get across? And you can see that I drew a few lines and I have this strong diagonal that became like a basis of a grid, and how the letters fit together. I also thought about hierarchy. So you can see that there's a few different pieces of this phrase that I emphasize in different ways. So I have the pink scrolly letters, and then the smaller letters that are not as important are just small sans serif. And then the word resistance gradually becomes larger. It's very clear. So that's an important thing to think about, is how can you divide different aspects of this message or this phrase and emphasize different parts. This is another one that I did recently, and I just really wanted to have fun. And I was inspired by trends that I've seen in graphic design, doing these kind of funky letters. So I did it in my own way, and it also tied to a concept of feeling like sometimes being politically active can make you feel like a radical. And I was just thinking about how that's kind of ironic that being engaged in your community can be seen as a radical thing. So I wanted to kind of make some type that pokes fun at that idea. Okay, and then this is the last one of my work. But this is really showing you that, like, if you do want to bring in different small decorative elements, you can. But I also want you to turn in a version that is only the letters so that you can see how they work on their own. This is the same idea that if you do a version with illustration or small elements of decoration, make sure to submit one without any decor, letters only. So these are some more examples of these. Have just little bits of more illustrative moments, like with this jet and the plane. And it is fun, and it's definitely a part of the illustration, but just submit one that is letters only as well. So again, be mindful of how the letters and the words fit together. The whole point of hand lettering is making sure that everything interacts in a balanced and harmonious way. So pay attention to spacing, and in your sketches, I would say include sketches of the grid and how the words are going to be gridded out in your final piece. I've included some process videos, so you can go through and click on these and watch how these artists approach the letters, and you can just see kind of how it works from the start to the end. I also really recommend this one because you can see how the artist creates a grid for themselves before starting. All of the details of this assignment will be in Canvas, so you'll be able to go and see what other parameters there are. Make sure to look through it and read through everything. Make sure you have all of the details. Follow the deadlines. Follow when the thumbnails and tight sketches are due and when the final assignment is due. Okay, good luck.